Welcome back. Well, here we are. It's bright and early on a Monday morning in February of this year. We just left Woodend and we're on our way to meet the rest of our riding crew in Springfield, by which time I hope we'll be out of the fog. I'm not a fan of fog, don't like riding in it at all. Well, as you can see, the weather gods were smiling on us. We battled through the fog all the way to Springfield, where we met up with the rest of the riding crew. And from the moment we left Springfield, pretty much the fog started to break away, and we were delivered with the promise of a absolutely amazing day, which we had the perfect conditions to cross the Great Alpine Highway, or State Highway 73, let's call it that, through Arthur's Pass and across to the west coast. So let's see how this gets on. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Now let me tell you a little bit about the riding crew that we're travelling around the South Island with over the next almost week or so. There's 8 bikes in total. 3 come down from the North Island and 5 from here in the south. We're joined by 1 other bike when we get down to Invercargill. More about that later. Great size group. We all know each other through mutual friends and have enjoy riding together, enjoy each other's company. And this ride has been put together by our good mate Rex, who met us off the ferry in Picton and put out the word, and away we go, having a bit of a tour. So this first leg, we are looking to get over Arthur's Pass, through Arthur's Pass village. And the reason we're starting a little bit early, we've got a bit of riding to do this afternoon because we're heading all the way down to Haast, and we might do a little bit of riding after we get there. As well, there is just outside, just on the western side of Arthur's Pass village, there's a bridge called McGrath Bridge, and during this period of time it was closing every day at 10 o'clock and staying closed for 1 hour on the hour through till 3 in the afternoon. So if you got there any time after 10 o'clock, you're going to be hanging around till 11 o'clock. If you got there at 11, you'd be hanging around till 12, for example. We wanted to get there before that. That's why we were on the road at 7:30 to make sure and get through there before the first closure of the day came through. And that's why we're running through here, and why it's so clear, and why there's not a whole lot of people on the road. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. The scenery around here is absolutely spectacular. Now just a little reminder why it's so dry is because it is in fact February 2025 that this was filmed. So we're coming through in summertime, which is why we're not seeing any snow, or very little on the way of snow on the tops of the mountains or anywhere as we come through. And have to say, as majestic and beautiful as the mountains are when they're covered in snow, I think there's a certain majesty and grandeur about them when they're looking just like this. It's really quite awe-inspiring. Love the riding through here, love the views. It's just a great place to be. Sometimes when you think you're all topped out on amazing sights, you come across something like this and you think, wow man, it takes my breath away every time. This was another amazing section of road where we came around a corner and just confronted with this long, straight, amazing mountain views in the background. Yeah, it is fantastic. Now, Amira and myself, about 20 years ago, we came over Arthur's Pass, but in a camper van at that time. In fact, we did it for a couple of years in a row. Hired a camper van from Christchurch over to the west coast, up, over, around, back to Auckland, and it was fabulous. I recommend to do it if you can. But what I will say is that riding this road on motorbikes, which is the first time I've done that, we've done that, is that's a whole next level again. It just becomes a very immersive experience. This is one of the must-do rides. That's what I say. what helps to make this ride so enjoyable, as well as it's got like a compact nature of this group. There's 8 or 9 bikes, and it's very easy, particularly because we all have a similar riding style, or at least we adapt to ride in a similar way, keeping a good pace through a lot of differing terrain, and we can very easily move through traffic when traffic does present itself. But most of the time the traffic that we found on the road was quite obliging, would help move aside to let us pass. So we had a pretty golden run through here on the State Highway 73. Can't complain at all. Well, we're down here heading towards the west coast, and indeed even on the west coast there are quite a number of these low-lying bridges across the riverbeds, and this was a great one. Really enjoyed this Beely Bridge. It's got passing lanes in the area. I remember these from a couple of bridges we had in Auckland, particularly up in connecting through to Thames. There were passing bays you can see on the left here, because it's a one-lane bridge, and I think there didn't used to be like control back in the day, so there'd be vehicles on the bridge and you'd duck into the passing bay if you had to, if there was another vehicle coming towards you. Now we wait politely at the other end of the bridge while we're waiting to get traffic through, so it takes a little bit longer, but probably it's a better way to go because there's many more vehicles on the road now than when a passing bay would have been a useful option. Now once we pass over Beely Bridge, we kind of move into more of a bush-clad road experience, and we're getting much closer to Arthur's Pass village here. Now, just coming up ahead, you can see Deb here's waving me forward, so I'll pop on up and catch up with my mate James, who's right there. And as we come through the village, we didn't stop in Arthur's Pass village because we still wanted to get through the bridges on the other side of the town. The bridge is going to close at 10 o'clock, so we kept on rolling, and we made good time because as we came through here, it was around about 9:30, so about 30 minutes before the first bridge closure of the day, and here we are just travelling on beyond the McGrath Bridge. And what we did was made our way down through the Otira Gorge, and we did pull over and stop at Otira for a rest break, but in the meantime we just enjoyed this amazing road and these views. I mean, it's different again to what we had on the other side of the Arthur's Pass village, but it's equally as wonderful to ride and a view, so I hope you enjoy it as well. I'll keep quiet for a bit just while we make our way through. Don't let it be said that everybody's a horrible person on the road. We got a couple of great cases of road courtesy here. There was a guy hauling a caravan who pulled over quite happily to let us all pass as we head on down to the rock shelter. And ahead, as you can see, the rock shelter, you'll also see a big truck and trailer unit. And again, a little bit further on as we get closer to the down towards Otira itself, the driver also just slows down and kind of more or less lets us pass as we approach to a one-lane bridge. So yeah, road courtesy. I was really happy with how it went down coming over State Highway 73. Just no complaints at all. Fabulous. Now, I mentioned how about 20 years previously we'd been over this road twice actually, on a year or so apart, heading over to the west coast with a camper van, And it was a fabulous experience, but no mistake about that. But it's a totally different experience on the motorbike, and I can tell you that I'll be remembering every single moment of this particular journey long into the future. Whereas there's just a few things I can remember from the car ride. I guess somebody once mentioned, similar to, you know, when you're watching all of this from the comfort of a car or a camp van, it's kind of like you're watching a movie. You just, you know, you're quite happy, you're sitting there inside. With the bike, you're in the movie. You've got the sounds, you've got the smells, you've got the rain, you've got the wind, you've got every single element, and it's just totally immersive. Your senses are more attuned because, you know, you're keeping you're much more at one with everything, and yeah, that's what I love about it. It's just the best. Now we've still got quite some way to go before we get to the coast, and what we found travelling along State Highway 73 was that we pretty much had the road to ourselves. I don't know whether it was the hour of the morning or not. I think it was about 11 o'clock, just a little after when we actually rolled into Hokitika. So I guess in essence it was quite early in the day that we're travelling along here, but yeah, what a joy. There were a couple of roadwork places that we did have to stop. There was a stop-go guy. Didn't really hold us up for terribly long on the stretch of road, like maybe 30 seconds, a minute at most. And in the meantime we just push on. You can see here that we're down, feels like we're getting down onto sea level already, and it won't be too much longer before we get to see a little snippet of the Tasman Sea, and then we'll know that we've completed the crossing from east to west. So that's not too far away, but in the meantime there's still plenty of scenic wonders to enjoy on the way there. So let's just settle back in for the ride and enjoy the rest of this State Highway 73. As I'm watching through this video and editing it down on a cold night in May, I'm reminded about this particular leg of the run from Otira to Hokitika. It's about 1 hour's riding, 85k I think. And I had forgotten to put my earplugs back in when we resumed the ride from Otira. Yeah, I did feel it at Hokitika. Not a thing I want to make a habit of doing, that's for sure. I might otherwise normally have stopped to fix the situation, but we were making great time, so I thought, well, you know, how bad can it be? It's only 1 hour, so I enjoyed the full symphony. Well, what can you do? Take one for the team, eh? Coming up very shortly, we'll be passing Coomera Junction, at which point we say farewell to State Highway 73 and we moved on to the Coomera Junction Highway, State Highway 6, which runs down the, well, as far as it can go, down the west coast, forging down towards Fiordland, and we'll be on State Highway 6 as we travel all the way through to Haast for the night. But in a more urgent business, we'll be stopping at Hokitika first, and we'll be getting some lunch there. So we get our first sight of the Tasman Sea. It's over there to the right as we're travelling in a southerly direction down the coast road, and here we are pulling into Beach Street. Shops are on the other side of that building there to the left, and we're going to be taking lunch through there. So that's where we're going to leave this one, pulling up at Hokitika Beach. Hope you've enjoyed it. Come on back next week as we ride from Hokitika to Haast. Take care out there, ride safe. See you in the next one.